My tier list for America's regionals this weekend. So you have to keep in mind a couple things. The first thing is that S tier has to be like you're clearly a cut above the rest and you are a threat to win the entire tournament. A tier is most likely to final lobby. B tier is make day 3. C tier is not like day 2 day 1 / day 2 expected, not a threat. And then D tier is trying to go not bot 4. Trying to avoid bot 4, because bot 4, as you guys know, does not make the pro circuit. D tier is good luck, but yeah. I mean, we can meme it real hard, but this is how I'm gonna define the tiers to start things off. And then I might adjust it. Depending on how things go. Win, that's bold. I mean, the thing is, no matter, there's gonna be a favorite to win the tournament, even if the win percentage is low. There's 32 players, right? And quick maths, I'm gonna go ahead and do the math, but 100 divided by 32 is like 3% and change. 3.1. Even if the odds of winning is 3%, even if the odds of winning is 5%, that's still a favorite. So you got to put someone in the S tier. I think, like, in general, the most somebody is likely to win a tournament in a field of 32 is like, and they have to have major edge. I would say like 10%. I'm on lunch just trying to learn about TFT. Well, we're gonna do the competitive tier list first, and then we'll jump straight into the gaming stuff. Okay, so let's go in order here, right? Let's just go through all of this. Okay, Bosso skills. I think Bosso skills, unfortunately, is kind of caught between looking for a job and playing TFT. I don't even think he's supposed to actually even be playing TFT right now. He was supposed to retire last set. And I think highly of his ceiling. I don't think he's at his ceiling. I don't think he's even taking it I think he's taking it seriously enough to try. Like, I think his goal was make regionals and make the pro league. So I think that he's almost there. I don't know if he is seriously in the lab practicing. That kind of speaks for his natural talent, but I don't think he is a threat right now. Babzera is very hit or miss. When I first started watching him play, I didn't think much of him, and then he improved a lot, and he, in set 11, was a #1 points qualifier earner. And then on the international stage, and a couple times, like, I've seen him compete on the global level, and I wasn't impressed. And then he hasn't really made a splash since. So, but the fact that I do think that he has his streaky moments, and it kind of just depends, I think, if he clicks with the patch. But so far, I would say that I used to rate him pretty highly among Brazil's best, but now I think he is a good Brazilian player. But I don't think he's particular. I'm not getting the like, this is his patch, this is his set type of thing. I think he has trouble capping boards. And I think that at least that was what I got to read of watching his plays. If he can improve that, then he can go into B tier. So Milk is very good. I think that Milk is surprisingly become less of a leader and more of a follower. And what I mean by that is, in the past, back in set 1 and set 2 and set 3, going all the way before set 4, Milk was like the guy that people would go to for the read. And he was always dead on, right? And he was kind of the guy kind of pushing forward, like, this is what the meta is. I think slowly over time, he took a break in set 4, came back in set 5, made worlds, came back in set 6, made worlds, and then kind of took a little bit of a break, and then came back and made worlds again in set 12, and almost made final lobby. He's very good, obviously, and historically still one of the best performers in NA. It's just that he doesn't have Precedent and Soju and all of them to bum off of, and I don't even think he's talking to Setsuko right now. I think Setsuko's prepping independently of Milk. So I actually think that Milk goes in B tier, which is like a lot. It's actually kind of disrespectful for like what his capability is, but he's really not trying. It wouldn't even surprise me if Milk just gets day 2'd or something like that. And just like, okay, I'm here to make Pro League and peace out. In fact, I'm actually willing to put Milk in C, but I think that's like a little too low. I have to be somewhat biased because it's Vitality. So I think Milk is low B, C. But I will say one thing. If they don't kill Milk off by day 2, Correct me if I'm wrong. Wait. Regionals is my brain is not working. I just woke up. Regionals is if you make day 3, you make final lobby, right? Am I stupid? I might be stupid. I'm playing this as if it's Tactician's Cup. Day 3, I think, is just the final lobby. Okay, so you know what? Let me. And then everyone makes it. Doesn't everyone make it to day 2? Oh no. Some people get eliminated. Day 1/2, not a threat. Okay, that's. I'll fix the tiers later on. But Milk is just tier. He's in B tier. You are stupid. Yes, we agree. Sorry, my brain is all over the place. The reality is, it's actually kind of a miracle that I can retain as much information about TFT as possible, just because being a dad makes you like 30% debuff. I get chilled. I got Nico ulted. Philip. I think Philip has also struggled a lot lately. I think he's been lost on a lot of patches this set. And he's kind of become like a first or eighth gamer. He was actually an AMP merchant. If you look at his profile, whenever he wasn't playing AMP, he was like bot 2. But then when he was playing AMP, he was like averaging a 1. That's not even an exaggeration. And that's interesting because I don't think he was necessarily a comp specialist in the past. I thought he was more of like a person that just generally understood meta. But I think that this set hasn't really clicked with him very much. So I think it wouldn't surprise me if Philip, and it kind of feels like in this range as well. Remember, Philip actually works a full-time job as well. I believe he works in banking. And so for him, it's just like a side project for him. And I think his goal is probably similar to Boss's skills, which is get to regionals, make the pro circuit, call it a day. I'm not getting the vibes. All right, we got Cambuli up next. I don't have too much insight into Cambuli at the moment. He's one of the players I've watched the least on this list. I actually think pretty highly of Cam's abilities, generally speaking. I think that he generally has a pretty solid understanding of metas. I think he is pretty decent. He's just like I think he's like an overall solid player. And I think it just depends on how good his read is going to the meta, going into the regionals. I also think that he's pretty well balanced. I think he's like tech oriented. He's meta read oriented. He can play a lot of comps. And like last patch, like he was doing stuff that a lot of people weren't. Like he was playing a lot of Zed last patch as an edge. And a lot of people were playing like, the AD stuff like Zeri and Marksman Vanguard, so on and so forth. And he understands that kind of stuff. So I actually think he is pretty solid. I'm going to put him in B tier. All right, Tex Summers. Tex is actually quite an enigma. I think Tex made Worlds already. And I think that was his goal. I believe he's the highest earning QP earner for LATAM. But ever since the merge with the Americas, his stock has only plummeted. He was like, let me pull up the pen here. He was like rated as like the number 1 LATAM player, and now I think he got jumped by like pretty much all the people that we usually compare to. And I'm not sure if that's because of like the number one reason people would say is that he's a fraud. He just got exposed. That could be one. It could be that it's unlucky. It could just be an unlucky streak. It could also just be that he wasn't adjusted. But the thing is, Tex actually prepped with NA players. Like Tex actually used to prep with like Robin, and like he prepped with Solo Gasong, and he prepped with Jazz Latte. Like he actually has good people to prep with in the past. Now that's not true anymore. And then there's one other thing that makes me ding Tex on. He was like the only notable LATAM player that like stayed in LATAM. A lot of other players like Michael, Altanahue, Relic, everyone else have tried other regions to like go there and try to seek bigger competition. Tex is like, I'll just stay here in the small palm of LATAM and like and just like get the guaranteed win. And that might actually be like, and again, this is me sitting in like I'm asked to be like the armchair quarterback. But I think that just like makes me feel like he's scared of harder competition, or just like when I say scared, I mean like he's taking like the easy guaranteed LATAM path and seed, but it took him this long for him to get there anyways, and so that makes me ding him a little bit lower. I think, but his accomplishments are amazing, right? He made 3 world championships in a row from set 6, 7, and 8, or is it 7, 8, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then he made it back. So he's back for his 4th world championship, but they're all like through LATAM. LATAM is not even proud of their region anymore, man. I have people messaging me on the regular talking about how depressed they are about the state of LATAM. It's bad. And you know what? I think it's about to get worse. I think Tex is here. I think D is a little too low. D is like, I feel like they're completely outmatched and they don't have a chance. Tex can definitely like make top 24. You know what the problem is with Tex when I watch him play is that I regularly see him play bad comps. Like I just don't know if his meta read is correct, but he's low in here. Robin songs. I mean, Robin's riding high off of his momentum. He actually literally just won. It's the previous patch was the Robin patch. It was a narrow flowcharty patch that rewarded you for playing pretty strict alongside meta lines. There was like small innovations, but it wasn't really within the game. It was out of the game. And I think that it favors Robin's skill set a lot. I think so I would say that Robin is very likely to make the final lobby at A tier at minimum. The thing about what makes me stop him from going to S is that basically I feel like Robin's edge is that he's consistent as opposed to he has something that other players don't, if that makes sense. Well, I mean, consistency is something that you can have over other people, but I guess what I'm trying to mean that is that he's not doing anything particularly exceptional. It's just that he executes at a high baseline and people move up and down based on that. And then if he gets like the good rolls, it'll go his way and he'll be able to convert off of it. But I think Robin is like either bottom here or like the top of A. I think he's you know what it is? He's like the gatekeeper. He's the gatekeeper of A. Like if you're better than Robin, you're S tier, I think. Because he executes at such a high baseline that if that he almost like you are required to do better than him in order to truly be considered like the elite of the league. And I try not to put like 6 people in S tier. I think that kind of defeats the purpose of it. That's how I come out about it. Regions should be the same patch. It is, and that's why it's like the people in. If you can make final lobby, you can win as well. The thing is, like, the S tier is just like who's the most likely players to win, period. I might end up moving Robin up, depending on how everything looks. I might move people down after I'm looking at it as well. Okay, Darth. Darth, I think, goes in B tier / A tier. I actually think Darth is quite good at these metas as well. He just kind of plays. He actually tends to be very like he plays like a line. He's not like a one trick, but he's also not a wide player. He plays along narrow stuff, and I think that an overall meta like this, I think Darth is pretty good. And also, he usually has like a tech or 2 up his sleeve, and it wouldn't surprise me if he has something for regionals this weekend. He also is one of the people who made it through ladder, which I think is always very impressive. Like he made it to ladder over a handful of other people, but to be fair, it wasn't really that close because Wei Jin qualified through a cup. So Darth ended up getting the spot. So what ended up happening was there's 3 people who were going to get who were fighting for a cup spot. It was Wei Jin, Setsuko, Dish Soap, and then Darth Noob, and then kind of Soju, but Soju said, nah, no worries. I'm just going to get through the cup anyways. I'm not going to go for ladder. And, you know, that plan didn't work exactly, I think, the way he envisioned it. And so when Wei Jin qualified for the cup and then Soju got banned, Darth Noob became the de facto 3rd place finisher. So, but still, good ladder result. And I think Darth is underrated. He did make Worlds recently as well, but I think his play needs to elevate or level up a couple times before he can compete like against the global's best. But I do think that he's improving. Kurum, I actually think that in general this set also rewards Kurum. If you believe this set rewards Robin's skill set, I believe it rewards Kurum. I do think Kurum does have slight execution issues. I think he's prone to making minor mistakes or like prone to making like a bad meta read, or sorry, a bad spot call. Like he says, I need to like do X and then I hit Y. Or rather, sorry, he's presented with A and B and he chooses the wrong line. And I think that he also, I think he's been working on this, but he still feels mentally volatile to me when a lot of other people feel like a lot more zen. Like I think if you compare Kurum and you compare someone like Darth Noob, they feel like on opposite ends of the spectrum to me. But that's maybe because I don't hear Darth just talk very much in general. And so Kurum's performance this set is actually here. I think that his average baseline is here. It wouldn't surprise me if he is just focused on the world spot, because you have to remember Kurum is playing for a world spot, but he is some of the highest volatility, I think, of all the players here in the A tier. I think that I could see Kurum win. I could see Kurum struggle and barely avoid bot 4, and I can also see him do pretty solidly. It all kind of just depends on him. On stream yesterday, he said his line selection is cooked. He overthinks. Another thing about Kurum is that he tends to get vortexed into his own like line of thinking of what could have happened. And he said like, oh, it could have been this. Maybe it should have been this. Fuck. Oh man. Oh god damn it. It just like that. It just feels like he's like that. Like that's the kind of mentality he gets into, and that puts him in a very vulnerable spot. If I had more energy, I would actually do the full Kurum, but like in Scream, and then I would do the and then in the back with his. And to be fair, I think it's his dog talking to him because he like does the dog calls. Okay, Pokygum. He's rank 1. He did pretty well at the past couple of cups. How did he actually finish in the third cup? Let me see. Actually, how did he finish in the third cup? He was doing really well the first 2 days, and then he got. They didn't actually publish the third cup results. Pocky, he flamed out on day 3. So I think Pocky is pretty good form right now. I would say that his performances in the over the competition was really good. He just didn't do well on day 3, but I think if it was like an overall point tally, is there a score sheet? If you look at day 3 standings, how many points did Pokygum earn throughout the competition? 93. In fact, if you just took his day competition and he would have made top 16, and if you got like another set of points, he would have made the final lobby as well. So if you would expect his average to be 4-4, he scored like 101, 103 points if he had an average day. And then, or if he got to play in the final lobbies, and he might even won the tournament. So Pocky did really well over the weekend. He was the highest pointer by far to be in this bottom. He's the anomaly. So I think Pocky has a pretty good beat on the meta, and I think he's in good form. He's rank 1. Replay. I was told that replay is not actually locked in. Not practicing that much. Kind of going through like he just has a bunch of IRL things. He's also looking for a job. I think replay is actually transitioning slowly to be a part-time TFT guy. I think he gave TFT a shot full timing. And maybe that's sandbagging. Some people were in the chat saying like, oh, maybe he's sandbagging, but I think his capability is like here in A. But I'm just gonna put him in B because it's just really hard to know, and he's also kind of secretive about that kind of stuff. Like he doesn't really openly share that. So if he's like looking for a job and trying to like he's thinking about his exit strategy, I think that just tells you a lot about mentality. It's funny though. Sometimes by doing that, you release yourself from the expectations and pressure. I would say that this is the least amount of expectations that people have had for replay since he won the world championship. Like the expectations was really high, and I think now it's just recalibrated, and everyone knows he's a good player. A lot of people speak highly about him. He's actually kind of underrated now, but I don't know if he's actually putting in the time prep compared to like looking for jobs and considering his next step. This set doesn't seem to be a set. Another thing too about replay is that he's actually a top 4 player. It's actually kind of impressive that he won the championship in set 8, given that he's actually a very top 4 oriented player, and it doesn't work a lot this set because he's like an aggressive reroll player at times, and that strategy just like does not work a lot because people cap too high. I think he's a victim of the set. I would put him somewhere around here to here. I'd probably say B. This is fine because it's too disrespectful otherwise. Setsuko. He's actually, I think that Setsuko is better than everyone here on this list at TFT. And I think that he actually has become kind of underrated as a player. And so based off that criteria, I said something earlier this tier list that if you're better than Robin, you go in S. And so I feel like I have to put Setsuko in S. That being said, I don't know how much he actually is trying for this regionals because I think all of his friends are not in. And one thing that actually, I mean, he is prepping for regionals. He streamed a little bit, but like he said that he wouldn't play scrims until like 3 days before. And I'm not sure if he's even playing scrims. And I think he's like queuing like League of Legends on his so it's like it's kind of hard because like his raw skill is so good. And the thing is, despite all of that, I still think he's one of the favorites to win. You can't count him out. Like, he just hasn't played many tournaments, man. If you look at Setsuko, if you look at his tournament results, there's nothing there because he's not playing in tournaments, man. Look at it. He's played in 2 cups in the past 6 months. If he's not getting banned from cups and tournaments, he literally like goes top final lobby. I'm actually looking at it right now, and I'm laughing at how silly this is. He's played in 2 cups and he's went 5th in both of them. He's averaging a final lobby. In fact, the last 3 cups, it goes back to the 3 cups. The cup before that was because he got banned in set 12, remember? So the last 3 to 4 cups, 5 plus 5 plus 14 plus 6 is 30. Divided by 4 is that he's still averaging a final lobby in the past 4 cups. That is just unreal. So if this guy plays a cup, I mean, come on, man. This guy is elite. I mean, likely to make final lobby at least S tier. But the thing I will say that I think his motivation is low, and I think that I think he's like kind of, I mean, understandably so, but I think he's kind of annoyed at Riot. This is gangly analysis. Hold on a second, I gotta pull this up. The last few months have been a bumpy road for Setsuko. Not in game. In game, he's been the same for the last 5 sets. After being banned for set 12, Setsuko returned to the stage to miss check-in at TC1, not compete. Thankfully, Setsuko's ladder dominance hasn't let up as he secured his spot at Golden Spatula through ladder after locking. He took a victory lap at TC2 with a 5th place finish, winning 36% of his games with the event, picked up where he left off. That is the AI summary of his season so far. Thank you, Gangly. No, I appreciate that, man. We need those storylines. Upset Max. Upset Max is like one of the most scary players to have in your lobby. I do think that he's kind of underrated for playing meta lines, but he's sort of notorious for being an open fort like terrorist. This guy just straight up is like unafraid to start the game at 20 HP. He also takes fat eighths because of that. And it's dependent on his read. I do think that his group has a really good read in general. So I think I think his baseline is C. I think that he is a player that can be here and maybe even like be threatening to make final lobby, but I consider him to be somewhere around here. I'm going to leave him in C tier for now, but I actually think that Max is kind of underrated. Have you heard Upset Max voice it? It's literally Corpse Husband. You're saying Upset Max and Corpse Husband is the same person. I've heard his voice before, yeah. He has a deep bass. You got to love it. And now I lower my own voice to make it sound. You know, when I first started casting, I actually sounded a lot. I was like lower. And when you first start doing on-camera stuff, you don't realize how low energy you sound until you listen to yourself. And so when I first started doing anything like broadcasting related, I wasn't aware of that. So I talked to like my norm. When I say my normal, it's like my indoor room voice, which is a lot like this. And so I talked. When I did commentary, I actually ended up talking a lot like this. And to me, this feels like I'm actually speaking with a significant amount of energy, but everyone who listened to it sounded like, oh, you sound so tired. You sound sleepy. And I'm like, this is like my indoor voice, I guess. If there was a solo S tier, it would be Weijin Iverson. I mean, I can't say enough good things about Weijin right now. I think he is the favorite of the tournament. And that's partially why I think This S tier has to this S tier has to be exclusive solely because if Weijin is not an S tier, or rather because if you are in the same tier as Weijin, it's almost like if the ceiling of these guys are S, you're being compared to Weijin Iverson. So it feels disrespectful if you're like not at that as your average baseline. All right, we got the Brazilian players, Cash. I don't think this Cash is of the elite Brazil. I think I'm going to put him in bot 4 here. Cash, when he plays on NA, is generally in the GM range, not particularly crushing it on NA ladder. Unkali, I believe, is like Masters GM, but I think that's because this guy sometimes funds it on ladder. I've played Unkali's in my games on the regular, but like I believe he was like lower LP than me, and I fund like a lot. Oh wait, no, he's actually 1,000 LP now. Oh, he actually ran it up. Okay, never mind. So I feel like, but like for a while, it was a lot lower. Okay, so like he ended up getting there, but like for a while he was like around here, right? Like a month ago, he was like Masters GM, and then he kind of made a big push to Challenger. That might be a motivate. That might be like he played on both servers at the same time. And that's why context is important. He probably was just not putting much investment into NA ladder because he has to play Brazil as well. And I believe Unkali is the lowest QP earner to get to regionals, period. And that in general also doesn't inspire confidence. I believe Unkali is LATAM. And if you look at the qualifier points, he's at 69 points. He didn't even qualify for TAC Cup 1 and 3. Okay. Well, I mean, you got to have extremes. It's a nice point count, though. You're right. Is regionals this weekend? Regionals in 2 days, yeah. Regionals in 2 days. McMeno. I think McMeno is around this tier as well. How's McMeno's season been for the most part? I'm going to put him here at the bottom of C. He's also a player that I think doesn't exactly crush it on any ladder. But you know what? I mean, at this point, I don't know if I should evaluate it because maybe they're focusing a lot on BR. I think they're all like kind of around here. J or C. This guy actually has been kind of impressive the past 2 cups. You guys might not notice because he's just like one of those mysterious faceless NA players. But J or C, almost like he's one of the top point earners this season, which got to count for something. And the previous cup he did 14. He got 4th on second cup, and then the third cup he went 18th, and he was kind of in range to make the cut. So he's like decent. I would say that I do think that he benefits from playing in weaker lobbies, though, or rather, a lot of the results that I saw was because he was basically getting away with it because there's a couple people in this lobby that just because he was playing win out a lot. Let me rephrase. JRC was playing win out a lot, and he'd always regularly win out with like 1 life, and that happens less often in regionals. So I'm knocking him down because it's also his first regionals, and I generally have a rule that people always underperform their first regionals unless they're like either of a significant talent or they are already seasoned in other ways. Wait, actually, hold on a second. This guy competed in China. TOC, this is the Chinese. He played in the Billy finals in China last year. Wait, he transferred from CN. Oh. So he might have some CN tech. Dude, CN's washed. I'll say it. Free Shunga. Hashtag free Shunga. CN's washed. J or C tier. Vapakasa. Vapakasa already made Worlds, I believe. I think he doesn't have that much motivation, but his motivation will be try to avoid bot 4. I put him here as well. I feel bad like having 2 people in D tier, but that's just the way it goes right now. He's decent. He made a deep run actually in Tactician's Cup. Not this one, but I think it was Cup 2. But overall, I think he's a point leader right now for Brazil. Let me actually look at it. I just want to verify this. Vapakasa. Oh no, VCLF is the point leader for Brazil, but it's gonna go into regionals. Actually, you know what? His motivation is gonna be pretty high. I'll put him like right around here. Toronto, Tokyo. Man, this guy. Okay, this guy is basically Kurum without tournament wins. I think he is a great player at his peak. His volatility is so high. He actually could be as high as here. Believe it or not. He could actually. He is actually a player that can win the tournament. He could also go 32nd. I don't even know how to really rate this guy. I would say that the curve of Toronto Tokyo though, and also his mental is also not up there. I think he tilts really easily. Surprisingly for a person that like is a professional gambler, it's surprising how like he sometimes just like his mental like booms in TFT. But I guess that's just that's just being human. So I like Toronto. I'm gonna put Toronto Tokyo here next to Milk. But he also could go like dead last, like dead last. Like, cause the thing about Toronto Tokyo is that he's very streaky. He's meta read dependent. If he has a good meta read, he is lights out. If he, but he sometimes like is a little too stubborn about certain things. Like he kind of wavers between being too flexible and then being too stubborn. We've seen him do some really amazing plays, and then we've seen him go spectacularly 8th. Off the, like I think about the cup where he like pushed with his Cypher and he played like reroll Cypher and it looked like amazing and then he went 8th. So he is susceptible to that. So he's like somewhere between, I would say B or C, but I think I put him behind replay. I think it's like this. Brosis and regionals, yes he is. VCLF, I think is the best Brazilian player here. I'm gonna put him here in the middle B tier. I think VCLF, believe it or not, has actually not had results lately. If you look at his past few sets, it's actually been kind of poor. He did top 16 one cup, but generally speaking, 22nd, 36, 103, 101, 83, 57. And I remember he actually he went to the goal. He actually literally went dead last at regionals in set 11. And that was the last time he made regionals. Wow. He hasn't made regionals in set 12 or set 13. The VCLF actually hasn't had results in quite a while. Now that I'm like looking at it, like before when it was Brazil regional competition, he was crushing it. And then I guess I did. It's a little bit unfair to rate him highly and then Tex when he kind of has the same problem as Tex Summers. It seemed like when the region merge happened, he did make regionals one set, which was good, but he's kind of been getting spanked. I think I have to put him here, which is actually kind of crazy because I actually like. The name recognition makes me feel like he should be higher, but he hasn't really proven that. I mean, he did it well. He's done well enough this set, but and also it's not the same though. Brazil's average level of competition is way higher than LATAM. Tell him how you made me change my ranking for VCLF. So going into set 11, as you guys know, we do power rank. We do like power ranking stuff. We also have player cards that we do for each set, right? So this is set 11, and we're going to do something for set 14 as well. I need to get on that. VCLF, so we usually have Gangly do like a power score index, and I remember VCLF made it. This was the first, where is it? This was the first regionals post-merge. Post-merge, we all assumed VCLF was going to do well. He's like, oh, he's a Brazilian guy. Gangly gave him a D and said not the VCL that we said before. His set AVP was 4.6, and then Gangly has scaled that AVP, which is like AVP relative to the field. So if you normalize it, it's actually in the 5s. He rated him a D, and all of us were like, huh? That's kind of disrespectful, man. This guy's actually one of Brazil's best historically, because before this, this was his resume. Right before he went dead last at regionals, this was his resume, and it was like, well, yeah, like he's like one of the Brazilian guys. Like he made worlds like 3 times. Yeah, he didn't like crush worlds, but like he did reasonably. And then Gangly was right. Setsuko is B tier or a low A tier at max. What's your justification? I need a good reason here. If your reasoning is because he is, you're getting timed out. People have had this belief that the main broadcast don't know what they're talking about. It's still like it's like a reputation that's just stuck, and they can't like, oh, I just don't want the main broadcast. Whatever, I prefer co-stream. I prefer to listen to players, so on and so forth. But they know their stuff. You call Cash a GM tier player on NA. He's top 10. Oh, he is? Oh. Why did I think he was somebody else? Oh, my bad. Top 10 NA. Oh, he's been crushing it this set. Well, I can't talk then. I must have just not been paying attention. I'll put him up here. Top 10 NA is pretty impressive. It is. In fact, I apologize. I owe him an apology. For some reason, My memory said that he was not that high and that he was like, I mean, this is decay, right? I mean, it's his, if you're to believe ladder is a good indication of it, then he should be here. Top 10 NA is very impressive. A lot of these other players aren't able to do that. As a coach of Vitality, why do you feel like Setsuko doesn't care to play tournaments? Yeah, because he makes too much money streaming and his contract. If he was not a popular player and streamer and he was more desperate, he would be more motivated. And also because I think his friends view it the same way as well. Like, I think his friends don't care nearly as much, and so he doesn't care nearly as much. It's just like a influence of the group. Artix. Artix is young. He's part of this group with the Kitchen guys. He's with Upset Max, Brosev, Dank Memes, Kai Wang. Had one good result, but I'm not convinced yet. So I kind of put him in this like middle tier. I need to see more out of him. It's his first regionals as well. And as you guys know, I think you always play below your level at regionals, unless you've been around for a while. Brosev, I think, is the best player in that group. I put him around here. I think that if you were to believe Brosev's results, he should be here, an A tier. But I'm gonna put him here in B next to Milk, above replay. That sounds about right. I think in fact I think actually Brosev is better than Milk right now. So I put Brosev at the top of B tier at the moment. I like the way he thinks about the game. I like his content. I think he's very enthusiastic. I think he's like one of those people that kind of deserve. If you love TFT Yap, I think he deserves more. I think he deserves more eyeballs and ears if you guys enjoy that kind of stuff. So it'll take time, right? I think people said the same thing about me. When I streamed TFT like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I had like 100 people watching me and 200 people watching. And there are a lot of people have been like, wow, I really enjoy your content. Like maybe more people should like check it out. I think it's only a matter of time before Broso gets that too. He's very underrated. Tunington, I put him in the same like Upset Max art. They're all kind of the same though. So here's the thing about these groups is that they all kind of live and die together. They do well depending on each other, and they're like kind of like because they all kind of bring each other up, and they also can drag each other down. Allegedly, they have tech. A lot of people are thinking the previous patch is pretty much done. There's not like that much to figure out, but allegedly, this group believes there's major edge to be gained, and there's tech. So if you believe in the power of like, if you have the tech and the meta read, you are going to do well, then you have like a lot of these guys all up here, depending on that. So they believe that they have significant edge. I also think that you have to be mindful that regionals is a higher level playing, like higher caliber field. You don't get weak lobbies as often. Very rarely. You might have 1 or 2 weak players at most per lobby. When in the average Tacticians Cup, you have 4. So like 3 to 4. And that's a really, really big deal. Even having 1 weak player is a really big deal in the lobby. And so they have to be careful not to become tech monsters and get consumed by that. But like they all could be up here. I don't consider him a true threat, but maybe this. Listen, this is just a power rankings, my own power rankings. Dihua, this guy is just rage baiting, man. I feel like I should put him in D tier because of how he disrespected Dirso. Did you guys see this tier list by him? He literally, this is his tier list. Gray Akurum, Weijin, Marcel, Setsuko, Brosev, Pakigam, Vsilev, Robin, Toronto, Tokyo, Vapakasa, Philip, Boskos, Camberley, JRC, Trevisan, Darth New, Milk, Babzera, Bobster, Tunington, Dihua, Quintanilla, Replay, Artix, and then Dirso. So he makes, and then he does this, and then he's like going into other people's chat being like, Pepe laugh, one guide. Joke's on you guys. I was just pretending to be dumb and have bad opinions. I think karma is real. This guy has to avoid bot 4. This guy has to avoid bot 4. I'm just putting in D tier. He's like the only guy I'm hate watching. I actually like Dehua. I think he's a cool dude, but for this tournament, I'm hate watching. Sorry, man. Dish soap. So I'm probably gonna do something that I'm not happy with, but I'm not putting Dish soap in S tier. Not because he's not capable of it, but I have just talked enough to Dish Soap to know that he really, really does not like this set. I think it wouldn't be surprising if he rated this the worst like set in a while, like maybe since set 9.5. Like he likes, I think he likes 10, 11, 12, 13 better than set 14. And I think that actually has and plus, and then you come up on other things too. There's TFT fatigue, right? He literally is playing 5 world championships in a row, which is a new record. I would love for him to do well at the world championship. And remember, this is my regionals, not world ranking, which is different. But there's a real, it is real. No matter, you know how you guys tilt queue and you guys say like, well, that I'm not that tired. I'm probably playing fine. Like I'm playing fine. My games have just been unlucky. I'm going to queue it up again. No, you're not just unlucky. You're making bad decisions. You're probably tired and you're just not aware of it, or you're just like too upset at the game or like how that game went in order to realize that, to have the presence of mind, the mindfulness to check in with your own body. And I personally believe that Dish Soap is way more tired, fatigued, and burned out on TFT than he probably realizes, and he probably even thinks he is. Like, Dish Soap probably just thinks he's like, man, I'm burned out on TFT, because the calendar of TFT is obscene. The World Championship ends. 2 days later, PB drops. And not only that, Dish Soap picked up third-party tournaments. He played in EWC, which is an immense amount of scrimming. Like it's like 12 to 14-hour days of EWC 4-4 scrimming, which is a different format. So he learned basically a different game mode. He also traveled to Milan, the DigiDuos double up, because he really wanted to like show up as a champion, and I think it was good content. And I think he had fun, but that still takes away from your energy. Also, the last thing is that he qualified for the World Championship already, and this is on regionals, which is a different patch. If this was the Worlds patch, I think it'd be different. But there's just like a lot of factors into making me think that Dish Soap is not in his best form, and I think that it'd be sort of dishonest as like a real analyst of TFT to put him in S tier. Because it could, because of his name recognition and not looking at the surrounding context of it. It's also his weakest ladder performances of the set. And I think with Dish Soap, he's a player that when you look at ladder performance, it often ties to his confidence, because that's his ladder is like his pride and joy. And this is like the weakest Dish Soap has looked on ladder in a while. And that's because usually he is pristine. Like usually when he queues it up, it's like weird to see him even go bot 4. Now it's like kind of common to see him go 6, 7, 8, and then it's just like, whatever, who cares? Because I think he's just like checked out. Like, when's the last time you see Dish Soap hover this low, which is crazy to say? Like, this guy's like, if he's having a bad ladder season, he's in like 1,500, 1,600 minimum. So I would say that no king rules forever. He is my TFT GOAT, but I think I have to put him here. I actually would say that Robin, I'm expecting Robin to do better than Dish Soap this regionals. Because I did say that if you're better than Robin, you were going in S tier. So I think I have to put Dish Soap here. And that's not even like, I think it's just being honest. And you know what? He's still 4th in the field in the overall scheme. If you were to go off of like number count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These are the 8 players most likely to make final lobby just by the count, right? Because yes, they're likely to make final lobby, but the reality is, even if you have an S tier of 2 people and an A tier of 2 people, 8 people make it. So it's still praise. Who's this? This is Bobster. The thing about Bobster is that he's got some high highs and he's got some mega low lows. Basically another Toronto Tokyo. If he is dialed in, I actually really appreciate the way Bobster plays the game. I actually like the way he approaches it. He's a fun player to watch. He's also a fun guy. I've never really like sat down and talked with him at length, but I've interviewed him a couple times. He seems like a fun guy. But we've seen him go high as like here, and we've seen him like flame out dead last. And that I think had some mental impact on him. So I'm gonna put him. I mean, I guess he's like kind of around, like, so at least he's proven it before. And also, I think I'm gonna go with like a sports narrative thing. I think that first regionals that he played in, he flamed out really bad, and I think that should motivate him to come back really strong. Also, I compare him to Toronto Tokyo, so this actually feels kind of correct. Also, Camby Lee is here, and that's one of his practice partners. So there's a lot of reasons to like put him around here. This is like sort of like a heart pick. I think Bobster, I think I just don't want to set expectations on it, because I could see him. I could see him flaming out, but also I kind of want him to do well. D tier, holy cow. I think you're going off of historic. I think that those are more flukes than anything else because you know the number one problem with Bobster is I think in tournaments he chokes, so historically, but I think that that is true of a lot of players until they stop doing it. So this one is my personal ranking. I'm gonna put him here. I'm gonna put him behind. You're putting him in D is far too low. You're putting him D low. Come on, man. Taliant, I watched some of his games. I don't remember seeing anything particularly impressive. So I think what's his ladder? I guess I have to look to see if I think he got it on qualifier points. He's Masters on Brazil. He's Challenger on NA. Pretty decent. I mean, that's fine. Put him here. Quintanilla. This guy is like kind of new to me. I don't remember even seeing. I think he might have had. Has he done well like in other sets? I think this is the first set he's done well. He has bombed out of a lot of cups. It looks like he's improving, right? He started off 100th and slowly but surely kind of making his way up. So it looks like he's improving. But he's gonna have to prove to me that that it's not just like a one time, because there's two ways to cut it. One, he's either improving a lot and he's going to do well, or two, he had one miracle run and he's going to flame out. Greya, I think, rounds out my S tier. I think this is probably not surprising. And I think Greya comes in as the second seed. I think Greya is quite solid and now is basically at the point of proving himself to be a top 5 NA player, I think. I think it goes Dissoap, Weijin, Setsugo, top 3. And then you had, for a while, it was replay at 4th, but now it's like you could argue about 4 to 5 people depending on the patch. Especially with replays taking a backseat. It could be Spencer, it could be Milk, it could be, I'm just gonna pick some of these people off this list, right? It could be Robin, it could be Soju, it could be whoever, it could be Precedent. I think there's a really big case right now for, like, in a year from today, we might be saying Greya is 4th if he's not already kind of there, because he's very, very, very good. I think Spencer's probably 4th, actually. Then probably Greya 5. If I were to go for NA rankings at the moment, he plays, he perfects the meta lines. The thing about Greya is that he's like very by the book, and I think that might actually be, it's like a strength and a weakness. His strength is that he does the good stuff in the best way. Like, he'll play Exotech and slam the correct items, pick the right augments, just like optimize. So it's like Weijin in that sense. So like he'll optimize. I don't think he's as proven and consistent as Weijin. And I think Weijin plays more things. But Greya is very good. If he gets the good spots, he pretty much has a really high conversion rate. And I don't think he really fails. He does have weaknesses, though. I think, like, for one thing, I think Greya is actually surprisingly a slow player. Like, I think he gets outpositioned by, like, the 1v1s. I think by his own admission, he doesn't, like, scout as much as he should. So he does have, like, openings. But this set, he's performed really well. And actually, if you look at Greya, he's also has a really, really high, like, hit rate. Like, he doesn't enter many tournaments because he played like on and off casually for years. He's really only been playing TFT for 2 years, and his results are quite good if you, like, look at it. He bombed out of Tactician's Cup 3. 23rd is good, like, making it far. It's like day 3 of a cup, and he day 3'd, almost final lobby, bombed out of 1 cup, then won regionals. And then, you know, Worlds didn't go well, but he got hit by a little hurricane. So that was set 11. And then I think in set 12, he, like, literally took set 12 off, by the way. I don't think he even entered any set 12. Then set 13, okay, set 13 actually didn't do that well. But then set 14, he, like, won a cup, got 11th at another cup, and day 3'd another cup, and he's number 1 in QPs, like, making Worlds. The only thing is that I don't know if Greya's motivation is I mean, Greya's motivation is pretty high, right? No, it is, because he's also fighting with Kurum for a qualifier spot. Yeah, he's literally the number 1 QP earner. He's 1 point ahead of Kurum X, 255, 254. Yeah, I would say Gray just look. He's just a clean player. Why is Dishop not S tier? I mean, I explained it for a while, but I don't think that Dishop is in peak form. Is the biggest summary that I can give. And I think that it's also on a patch that's not going to be for Worlds, and I think his focus is on the World Championship. You are overhyping Greya. Why am I overhyping Greya? I need to hear counterpoints, because if your counterpoint is I haven't seen enough, then I think you're just not paying attention. He was also fantastic at 4v4. I think if you watched him play there's things about watching people play 4v4 that you pick up that you don't get from solos. You see a lot more about a player that way. Let me ask you this: how much have you watched Greya play? If you're a person that's like, okay, like you might be overrating him, how much have you watched him play? How many hours of his stream have you watched, or how many times have you watched his stream? I don't think it makes me feel like you haven't, because he's actually quite, if you watch him play, you'll understand what I mean. You know what it is? Greya is basically like Milk before Milk took his break, before Milk got a girlfriend, and before Milk turned 30. He's like young Milk. He even sounds like Milk. I saw a little bit, and your conclusion is that he's overrated. Trevi-san, I don't know much about this guy. There's always a couple of people who I'm not sure about, so I'm gonna have to look it up. Looks like he's relatively new. He started in set 11. He got cleared in trials, and then made it to cup, and did well in cups. Interesting. Wow, what a jump up. Set 11. This dude was hard stuck day 1 of trials, and now all of a sudden he made it to regionals. It's the same story with Quintanilla. Either this guy has improved dramatically, or he somehow put together the run of his life. It's 3 pretty good cup performances. True, it's not just one. Quintanilla had just 1, so I think he's a step above. He's had pretty good cup results. I mean, 22 and 15, 2-3 day 3s. I mean, that's reasonable. I mean, I'm assuming he's gonna. I'm assuming that's not luck. Marcel. Marcel is putting in the work. I think he looked really good going into the cup. And I think he's basically formerly Google employed Broseph. He works hard. Like Broseph, I define as a hard worker and a great, calm, analytical, educational thinker. And I think the difference between Broseph and Marcel is that Marcel has a job, or had a job. This is my tier list. I'm done. Let me see if I can move things around. Actually, you know what? This actually looks kind of good, because I have 8 people in S and A tier, which means that this would be a final lobby. And this, I probably would say it's like here. I would say it's like this order makes sense. Weijing Greya says this would be, this is actually pretty damn close to my rankings. Yeah. And then these are the people that are like if I see them in the final lobby, it wouldn't surprise me. And then these are the people who can make good runs, but I think it would be surprising to see them make it in the final lobby. And then the people in D, I mean, Dihua is like I already said what I needed to said. I think Tex should move down here as well. He already made Worlds. I think his motivation is low. I think he struggled on international play. And I think that it wouldn't surprise me if Tex is already qualified for Worlds and is like, I'm not even going to practice in this patch. I'm going to practice for Worlds instead. So there's that. And this doesn't look clean, so I'm going to move one person down as well. Who should move down from C tier? One person. Who would be the dark horse? I mean, this is the dark horse tier, the B tier. Mac Menno. Just because we don't know much about him. I can't even find him on ladder. Is he playing under a Smurf? He doesn't even. Is he only playing on BR? I think he definitely has a ladder account. Mac Menno. He's 6 on BR. I mean, I think Marcel is better than Darth Noob. I mean, I will say that the reason why Darth was rated really high is because I think you guys are underrating Darth. But I do think that he is a little susceptible to. He's a little bit susceptible to having like be too much into his own line of play. But I think you guys underrate him. I think he's very good. Did he run it down? Is that why? Or he ran down to 1300. But he's pretty good at ladder. And he qualified the regionals through ladder. He's been good at all the patches. He ran down recently, but that's okay. Like, I don't see an argument for why Darth would be in, like, if I'm rating him too high, and then Kurum is here as well, and Pokigom. It's almost like the same. It's like the same to me. Like, I actually think that if I were to be even more granular, I think A tier is like this. Like if I and then it's like that. Like if you just say like, oh, you have the tiers wrong, this is where I actually would cut, in my opinion. But I think it looks better this way. If you were to believe, like, I think these three are a step below these guys, and these guys are half a step below these guys right now in terms of like what I just how I view things. And then yeah, putting Dish up higher than 26 is a little sus. Yeah, fair enough. One thing that about Marcel that I need to discuss is that he did do well in the previous regionals. He got 11th. The problem with Darth is that he does bomb out of cups from time to time, but he made it through ladder. He got 5th last regionals and made worlds. Yeah, I mean he definitely man, like I think people who qualify through snapshots, I think highly of people who do that. But then again, I think who was the last player? The last set we had Weijin, Setsuko, and Dishub do through ladder. Who was set 12? Set 12 was Spencer, Weijin, and Setsuko. Because Dishub technically qualified through tournament. And then the set before that for set 11, that's where I start getting hazy. But Darth has always been in contention for that. I just rate him high. It feels illegal to put Dishub under S tier. But you heard my explanation, right? Do you disagree with the way I assess it? Do you have a pediatric EpiPen? Yeah, we do. We do. I think he consistently underperforms in tournament compared to ladder. I mean, yes, until they don't. That's the story. That's actually been the story of literally everybody here except for 3 people. That is true of literally everyone on this tier list except for 3 people. That at one point they were underperforming. Actually, sorry, 4 people. They were consistently underperforming in tournaments relative to ladder. That's just true of everybody on average. Unless you're literally Weijin Iverson, unless you are Robin Songs, unless you are Milk and Replay. Once upon a time, Setsuko and Disso were underperforming relative to their ladder. Everyone kept saying Setsuko was a ladder warrior. Disso was a ladder warrior. They would like do well on ladder, but they wouldn't actually do well at cups. They didn't make worlds. Disso didn't make world. Disso needed 5 regionals to go to worlds. 5. And you're telling me, yeah. And then he made 5 in a row after that. So like it has what it is what it is. DY is too high. I'm not making a tier lower than D. So and you have to remember that I ranked Marcel 10th. That is out of a field of 32. That's pretty good, and that's actually very consistent. I did it from my analysis point, and he also like it's actually kind of fair. I think that's actually good. He's top 10. I put him in the top 10. You're making it sound like it's a bad thing that I put him in here, but you got to make cuts. You know what? You know what's really funny? Chat's tier. I'm gonna go ahead and screenshot this. You know what's funny? Chat's tier is like this. Like chat's tier is like this. This is how chat does tiers. Like consistent. I'm not saying like this is how chat does tiers. Their S tier is always like the biggest, and then there's like a couple of A tiers like yeah they're pretty good, and then there's like no nuance in the middle, and then everyone else is like yeah well they're 8th. This is how you guys' opinions. If you guys were like the click because like well I don't know this guy D. I don't know this guy D. Yeah he's probably not good D. I saw this guy go 8th once D. And then it's like oh my god but this guy Weijin Iverson my goat. Setsuko, my goat. Dish Soap, my goat. Robin Songs, my goat. Milk, my goat. And it's just like come on, man. Where's the nuance? where are you guys even watching and paying attention to how things go? This is literally what chat. I don't even have to ask what chat thinks. This is literally what chat thinks. Having anyone in C tier is even like overrepresenting. This is like the chat tier list right here. This is not even a bad tier list. I think it is. I think it is. Or perhaps it's accurate because the middle class is dead, just like in real life. Even in this world, Frodan refuses to put Pocky in S tier. Dude, okay, sure. How about this? This is the chat. Literally nothing in B, nothing in C. Everyone in S or D. This is the final list.